Hi, we're here with a glimpse with Elizabeth Maxwell. Elizabeth, among other people, just recently worked with us on a pretty extensive game. And one of the things that was interesting about this, you're laughing already. One of the things that was really interesting about this is because of the number of characters and because of the number of lines, some of the character descriptions didn't really get super fleshed out. And there's always a danger when you have that everybody ends up defaulting to kind of a two-dimensional stereotype, and you did a couple of characters, and there was one in particular that, is called, the celebrity or the celeb, that you really made this your own, and I want you to talk a little bit about what you did to really turn this into something that was more than just, "Oh, here's a stereotype of what we all think of as a celebrity."
I actually learned this from a commercial workshop, believe it or not like an animation or video game workshop, but something that instructor impressed upon me is that in the entertainment industry, unless you're dealing with a really two-dimensional villain, most of the time any character or voice that you're portraying, you want them to be likable. Even if they're a little Eeyore-ish, even if they're a little, like, ego inflated, you don't wanna turn the audience off with the characters that you're putting forth. And, with the celeb, I think that was a fine line to walk because we were having fun playing with the stereotype of what we think of as, like, the type A celebrity, very kind of maybe disconnected from, the real world a bit. But that was kind of front and center in my brain when we were working on this character is, yes, she's funny. Yes, she may not, uh have a great comprehension of the reality around her and the way others see it, but I didn't want her to be unlikable. And so I worked really hard at finding the humanity within this character that is kind of a stereotype, but how do you bring it back down to the human like part of who she is?
Yeah, I mean, you did a wonderful job with that. One of the things that you did, and the nice thing is that the team was fine with you doing this, is you had several times where you suggested rewrites of lines, and it wasn't just complete rewrites. It was, I don't think that this person would say this. I think that she wouldn't feel. I don't remember all the things that you said, but the rewrites were always that they were always taking some of the disconnectedness and maybe even I don't want to say meanness, but the kind of thing that could make you look at this character and not like her, and you turned her really into a sympathetic, really kind of a believable role. That
Mhm.
there were times that you, I don't know that it really spilled over to feeling sorry for her, but it was kind of like, oh, you pat her on the head a little bit, which was great. It,
Yeah, I feel like after years and years of doing this, one of the practices that I've kind of implemented at the beginning of my session with a new client or on a new project is I try to take the temperature of how married the client is to the script. And obviously, there are some writers who are like, hey, I put what I mean on the paper. That is what I want you to read. And I respect that when that is the case. But a lot of times, a lot of clients are open to a more collaborative approach. Because when that's the case, I believe that you're not just hiring me to be a voice that ingests and then regurgitates exactly what's on the script. You are hiring me to be a well rounded actor. And that includes improv, that includes having a clear idea of the character's mindset and my vision for the character and suggesting things to flesh that out if I'm not seeing it in the script. So I was lucky in that you and the client we worked with were open to that kind of collaborative approach because I think it did allow for us all together to create a more nuanced character.
I actually have a question regarding your other character that you did, super eco-conscious, which I think in general, when we have an idea of a celebrity in our minds, like I feel like we all have a place to go for that as far as what we recognize in someone, some like concrete characteristics. But with the super eco-conscious, how did you attack that one?
Um, well, I did grow up in California, so I have a I have a lot of material to base that character off of. Um, but again, I feel like you take any character trait and it exists on a spectrum, right? There are very few character traits that are purely positive and purely negative. They can go either way. You can take something like self-righteousness, and maybe that's the far end of the negative spectrum, but you nudge it over more on the other side, and it becomes a commitment to justice. It becomes standing up for people who can't stand up for themselves, right? And so that's how I kind of tried to look at the eco-conscious character, because I think we have this stereotype of people who are hippie or granola or very green as being self-righteous, as being kind of maybe a little bit holier than thou or preachy. You know, we always joke about how do you know someone's a vegan or how do you know someone does CrossFit? They'll tell you. You don't have to guess. um, and so for her, again, it was kind of recognizing what those stereotypes are, but then finding a way to nudge those personality traits into the more human, positive aspect of that, you know? Obviously, most people it takes a lot of effort to be eco-conscious. Most people aren't doing that, for the heck of it. Like, they have some sort of deeply held belief in wanting something for the greater good. So,
Mm,
finding that balance.
yeah, and it is a very difficult thing, especially again when you don't have something that's really super fleshed out. So it was really impressive watching how you work with that.
Well,
So,
thank you.
well, Elizabeth, this was lovely. Thank you
Yeah,
very
thank you
much.
guys.
We will talk soon.
Awesome. Thanks for
Yeah, we
having
have to
me.
do this again and have a longer conversation.
Yes, please.
Absolutely.